Genre is a very weird but effective tool. Sometimes filmmakers, or literally anything that could have a genre tied to it, sometimes people like to make pieces based off of a genre, and sometimes people just let the piece flow and don't constrain it to a genre. And ironically, when you start to pay attention to it, genre is a really weird thing, but I'd say it's necessary. It gives us a framework of where to go, really. It's a good roadmap. And that's what this video is going to be about. The complexities of genre and implications that holds every genre and the genres that exist in those genres. So subscribe if you're into that. Don't have that many right now. I have about 239 right now and trying to make it to 300. Yeah. And at 300 subscribers, I'll watch 300. So, what I notice about genre is that it taps into the human emotion a lot. Just the mention of a certain genre can evoke an emotion in someone, just slightly. It gives you the idea of what it's gonna be, and then you're expecting it, you know? Like if I were to say action, or comedy, or romance. Like if I want to see an action movie, I'm in the mood to see a car explode in a high-speed chase. And depending on these labels, that is the general mood that you're trying to go for. Not every action movie necessarily will have an exploding car in it, which is why it's focused more on the feeling, the emotion of the category. Now, not all genres are as simple as this. I guess you could say you have your core genres. You could probably honestly fit every movie ever into one of these three, but then things start getting a little more complicated, like superhero or sports film or silent film, which are more general. Genres, the only difference between genres is how specific they can be. And I think it will help if I make a chart of every genre we name in this video, from most specific to most general. But back to our big three. Remember when I said every movie could be dumbed down to this? It's honestly not true, because I just remember that horror is a thing that exists. I didn't say horror. There are general genres that are emotions, like action, comedy, and romance, and horror. Those words, all of them are literally emotions. But then there's superhero and western or gangster movies, or even pirate movies. Pirate movies. People want a movie where it takes place in the desert, or it's a team trying to win something, or a police officer gets tortured by a gangster while his family at home is oblivious to the torture he's being subjected to. When you decide to watch a certain movie, based on the genre, you have a vague idea of what will happen, and a vague idea of what does happen. For example, there's an action movie about this dude and his baby. I can imagine him throwing the baby at the guys. It might take up more of the product depending on its name. Like in sports movies, they'll be wearing their jerseys almost the entire time. It's just when they're at home and when they're at a game, more or less. In the locker room, that's 3 locations. Now, the big genres, like your starter pack, I guess, bigger than the starter pack. Now, in our modern age, there is superhero movies. There's historical, horror, drama, comedy, thriller, fantasy, mystery, sci-fi, war, documentary, western, adventure, and noir. Each of these genres, they can get as specific as you want. And people even come up with new names for the subsections. Like there's noir, one of the oldest movie genres ever, or I think it might be the oldest movie genre ever. And then there's the neon noir, or neo-noir, which is now gaining traction in the 21st century. And the same thing happened in the westerns. There were westerns, and then cars just started to exist, and now there's neo-westerns. And now there are classics that are neo-westerns, and neon noir. A lot of N-words. It's good to remember that genre is only a constraint. It's a form of organizing that could actually hurt your movie from being as good as it can be. Which finally gives me the opportunity to talk about my favorite movie of all time. RRR. This is the definition of a movie that does not have any constraints on it. 3 hours, I was glued to my seat. It's about these 2 guys who live in India while it's a Bollywood movie. And it's supposed to be taking place during British occupation. And both of them want to get the British out, but they're both taking different routes to it. One of them became a British police officer and plans on overthrowing the British from the inside. Another guy lives in the jungle, and the British Raj end up kidnapping a girl from his village. He wants to rescue her, but then bro, it just gets so much bigger than that, bro. Jeez, dude. It's insane. And a variation of things happen throughout this story. It's probably low-key Indian propaganda, I admit that. But so is Top Gun. Not Indian, American, but, damn. They really got me convinced, though. It's a martial arts movie. It's an action movie. It's a buddy comedy. There's romance. What is going on, bro? It is a thriller. It is an epic. It's a war movie, in a flashback at one point. It's absurdist, but best of all, I did not expect them to even put this in the movie. This is what really sold the cake for me. It is a musical. They have musical cues in this. I thoroughly enjoyed the dance battle between these two and the British, bro. Like, it was actually so hype. And then the credits too, some insane credits, bro. So good. It's so good. Literally watch it. I think it's still on Netflix. RRR, bro. Worth your time. Watch it. And don't be like, oh, I don't want to watch the movie because it's 3 hours. Watch it. If you die without seeing this, you're going to regret everything. You're going to regret what you don't even know. But yeah, these are all the genres that are in that movie. And it accomplished this because it didn't constrain itself to one genre. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I can say that it thoroughly appealed to my emotion. Every single one of these genres. Every single one. Now, of course, the genre has to go with the message or whatever, but you can tell any message through any genre if you're daring enough. Clearly. The sad inevitability of it all is that if a new director comes along and starts doing their own thing, and it's very unique, people might start calling that a genre. Some people might call Wes Anderson's style the storybook genre, or Tarantino's style, or my draws in MS Paint style. A friend of mine was talking about how they hated how everything could be relentlessly categorized in its own right. And you could just keep on doing it over and over, down to the atom. Kind of sad if you think about it. But in the end, it's just a good organizational tool. I like that you can check a certain genre called thrillers for actually good movies. I really respect that genre for existing. Now, you could split all movies down the middle by saying they're fiction or non-fiction. Or I could say movies that feature people who are hungry and movies that feature people who are not hungry. But would you really know? Sometimes films just make new genres. And whether those genres are widely accepted by the masses, like etymology, it just depends on if people agree with it. If it feels intrusive or not, the word. Or if it's too noticeable. Okay, what am I even saying at this point? Subscribe.